Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves, a morning upload for me to give you guys the latest on Wolves' search for a new head coach. Again, plenty of twists and turns throughout yesterday afternoon and evening. So this is the current state of play at around 9:30, 10 o'clock on Tuesday the 4th. Gary O'Neill, a manager who I spoke about quite a lot yesterday, seemed to be an extremely strong contender. Wolves at some point yesterday afternoon were in advanced talks for the sensational return of Gary O'Neill, but in my opinion, thankfully the former Wolves boss withdrew from talks with the club. It said that Gary O'Neill felt the opportunity to make a return to Molineux wasn't right at this time. Other sources and rumours suggest that maybe he wasn't happy with what Wolves were offering in terms of contract length and so on. He wanted maybe a little bit more of a long-term project where Wolves possibly were only going to give him a short-term deal. I'm not so sure, but it's quite alarming to me that we're even at this point. Why was Gary O'Neill so far down in the talks? I'm not so sure. Other whispers suggesting that certain members of the staff and squad weren't happy with the option of Gary O'Neill returning to the club. So who's next? Which other names should we be looking out for? Of course, some of the names that I'm going to talk about now may be repeated from yesterday's video, but according to the Times, it looks like Rob Edwards, the current Middlesbrough boss, is one of the leading candidates for the role. Rob Edwards yesterday, I mean, they're playing tonight in the Championship, and his pre-match press conference, he distanced himself a little bit from the talks, as you would expect when he's in a press conference representing his employers. But it said that he could still be one of the big candidates for Wolves. Of course, local to Wolverhampton growing up, knows a lot about the club, worked at the club. So it's quite a romantic feel about this one. Of course, the biggest stumbling block for Wolves is that there will be compensation to buy Rob Edwards out of his Middlesbrough contract. It's very difficult with a lot of these managers that I'm going to talk to, because I don't think all of us are going to be 100% in on one manager. I think the whole anti-Gary O'Neill thing was quite united. A lot of us sort of singing from the same hymn sheet there. But I think a lot of the other names, they've just always got, has he done it? I think the issue is with the current state of modern football in the Premier League, there's not sort of a proven track record of firefighter managers like there was back in the day, a manager that you could bring in and he'd get you out of trouble. At the moment, you've got to sort of take a little bit of a risk and so on. But at the moment, Rob Edwards could be that risk for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Like I mentioned yesterday, if you missed the video yesterday, former Wolves striker Robbie Keane reportedly threw his name in the hat as well. There's not really been much else on him as of yet, to be completely honest, but Robbie Keane was potentially one of the options, and we've had nice little bits and pieces from the press over sort of late afternoon and late evening as well. One of the names that cropped up was the former Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. Sort of a little bit of a mixed sort of noise on Ten Hag at the moment. Said that he is one of the options, however doesn't seem to be a serious option for Wolves as of right now. It's an option I'll be very intrigued by. Sort of burnt his bridges at a real strange spell at Bayer Leverkusen right at the start of this campaign, of course. I think he didn't quite get on with the board there, so it'd be very interesting to see what would happen if Erik ten Hag was to be given the reins at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Other names that have been mentioned alongside ten Hag, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, another former Manchester United manager. Apparently intermediaries have sort of touted both ten Hag and Solskjaer to Wolves as potential options, which makes, maybe to me, makes me think, are those two open to discussions about coming to Wolves? Both managers I'll be interested to see what would happen at the Molineux dugout with, but at the moment it's said that neither are classed as serious contenders. Maybe that's because Wolves don't think they're serious in regards to joining the club, or maybe the money they want or the promises they want are maybe a little bit out of stretch for the football club at the moment. Two managers that are on the market at the moment, Brendan Rodgers and Ange Postecoglou, both have recently left Celtic and Nottingham Forest respectively, said to not be in the frame for the current vacant head coach role at Wolves. So two managers that maybe, again, I would have been interested to see what would have happened. Both of those no longer in the frame to become the new Wolves head coach. So very interesting at the moment. I'm sure we're going to see plenty more twists and turns It said that Wolves obviously want to take their time to find the right man. Will it be before Saturday's game against Chelsea? At the moment, it seems unlikely, or at least it seems unlikely that person will take charge for that game. But a couple of new names coming into the frame. I've heard whispers that there's lots of names being talked about and potentially being spoken to, so we may well see some fresh names come out throughout today as well. As always, make sure you're following us on all the socials on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Talking Wolves everywhere to keep up to date with the latest news. Hit the like button, guys, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon.